Hello and welcome. This is the North End. If you didn't just hear that from the intros, then I think you might be deaf, but that's okay. We still love seeing you here. I am Luke Connolly. I am the one who knocks, and I'm the one who has, probably the only decent hair left on this pod. But I'm also joined by an incredible man, a wonderful guy, a soon-to-be loving husband, and an incredible coach and master of people. So I'm really excited. We are doing one of the, I suppose, one of our segments that people love the most. We're doing Director of Football, and we are starting off with the incredible Aston Villa. If you haven't been paying attention, then you should have. From the depths of the bottom of the Premier League to the euphoric highs of Europe, even if it is the Conference League. Brian, we don't care. You're not in it, and we are. I am very, very pleased to be joined by the one and only JP California. JP, how are you, sir?
What an introduction, man. I feel like I got to give you props on the fresh cut. I mean, I know it's technically your month, and so you definitely want to get the fresh cut every now and then during your month period. But you definitely played me up this time. We're definitely guest starred by the very handsome Garfield-like cat I got going on in the background.
Yeah, I thought that was a dog. It's huge.
It is a giant cat. I think it's actually part lion.
I think it might be a lynx, dude.
Dude, it's huge. I just realized that like most of her body's in the video, so I was like, I should probably just introduce Rupert and get going. Yeah, dude, how exciting has it been to be a Villa fan this year? Just let me ask you real quick, dude.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. It's obviously fantastic. I was lucky enough to be back in the UK for various reasons this year, and obviously going back home means going. So I was lucky enough to see Villa beat United in Ronaldo's last away game, 3-1. My friend, it was his first ever soccer game. I got him a top. He put £100 on Villa to win. It was wild.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then just around Christmas, just gone, I was very lucky to join, obviously, our friend, Mr. Simpson, Adam, for his first home game. I think his first game at Villa, where we saw Villa win. I think we beat Fulham. It was 1-0. And it was a so-so game, but it was great atmosphere. And I took my mom, and she loved it as well. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and to see how just how amazing we've done is amazing.
It's been a huge turnaround this season for Aston Villa from being a team that was in the bottom three to being in 7th place. Man, what a turnaround for us this year.
For sure. And you look at some of the teams that have gone down, like, Southampton were terrible, but Leicester, that is a huge...
That could have been us.
Grace. It could have. It was, as they say, there, but the grace of God go us. So, yeah, I think it's amazing. And I think Unai is just an absolute master, and people and the league and everyone has been sleeping on him. And we've got an absolute behemoth and a tactician who knows exactly what he wants and what he wants to do. So I'm excited. Now, if anyone doesn't know the channel or hasn't seen this is our Director of Football. So what's going to happen is JP, in a moment, is going to assume the role of Director of Football. We have seen him coach his under 12s, his under 13s. We've seen the prowess and his ability to recognize the difference between a lynx and a common house cat. And we thought, right, we're going to Ted Lasso this shit. We're going to get him in, and we're going to see what happens. So, JP, we joke and we mess around, but I really genuinely am impressed by your knowledge, especially around this kind of stuff. So I'm really excited. Take it in for a minute, set yourself, and I want you to really be this person. So I'm going to start 3, 2, 1. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be joined by Aston Villa's brand new Director of Football, John Paul Wilson, also known by fans as JP California. Mr. California, it's great to have you. How are you?
I'm doing well today. What a great day it is. Yeah, I'm really excited to get going and finally take Villa. That has been a team that's been in this position several times, looking to kick on, being in the top 10, looking to finally make a real push for top 4, and hopefully help them recruit the players they need to make that push, if not in the top 4, but definitely into the top 6. And kick away some of the elder teams that just don't look like they have it in them anymore, like the Evertons and the Tottenhams of the years. So, this is Aston Villa's moment, and I think with the right recruiting and the right sprinkle of magic, that Unai Emery will have the players he needs to do what he does, which is basically get teams to play solid in the back, good defensive football, and eke out 1-0, 2-1, 2-0 wins all season long.
That's amazing. Well, on behalf of the fans, I think we can all say it's an absolute honor to have you, sir, and we're excited. You know, we've all been watching Ted Lasso, and we all know, you know, what this means to bringing a complete stranger to a role and just see success. So really excited. Now, this is how it's going to work. Obviously, I'm going to shrink us down a little bit. I might have to overlay that. You know what? That could be my mic.
Can you put us in one on top of the other? Which sounds weird, but it goes right with everything else we've been talking about.
I know. I think because
there we go.
There we go. There we go. I sorted it. You know what? Us old people, we're not good at tech, but we've sorted it. So, okay. So everyone knows JP in his new role has been given 80 million, which we feel is a fair amount starting. Considering
I feel it's a little low, but you know what? We don't get the option here. I would have thought Villa would have had 100, 120 million, but I would argue yes. Paul wants to try and limit how well Villa can do against Manchester United. Of course. Thankfully, we have some players that we feel still have value of them and that we can release or sell off the team, and we can give us a little bit of a war chest to take us into next season.
Absolutely. Well, let's take the 80, and I think 80 in Unai's hands is different to 80 in someone like Guardiola's hands. So I'm really excited. So we're going to start straight away. We're going to go through outs. So JP, your first out is
Bertrand Traore. He just came back from loan. He had 2 spectacular goals to help us see out this season, but to me, he has not done near enough in this season or previous seasons to warrant the price tag that we paid for him. So we're going to take the 8 million. We're going to say thank you, Bertrand Traore, for all you have done. Hope you have fun in France, Spain, Italy, wherever it is you go.
Yeah, I see. This one hurts me a little bit. I do like Traore, and I think
we don't like him, but he just isn't consistent enough.
For sure, not for where we want to be. So I totally agree. I think 8 million would be a very fair and a very reasonable price for a Lille or something like that, Rene or things like that. So I think great start. Secondary.
Now,
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
But this is my concept, and this is how I'm thinking in my head. If you're Liverpool and Villa have this guy for sale, are you buying him? No, you're not. If you're Chelsea and you have money and you're looking to buy another forward, are you buying Cameron Archer? No. If you are Brighton might, they might, because that's kind of the club they are. But if you're Manchester United, you're Chelsea, you're Newcastle, no top 5 team is looking at Cameron Archer, and we want to be a top 5 team. Could he help us in Europe? Yes, but I'm going to take that 20 million and we're going to go for a top striker instead.
Okay, I think that's fair. Quick question on that one, just before we move on. A buyback, yes or no?
Oh, hell yeah. A buyback, and we'll do it something like 30 or 32 or $35 million buyback, almost a double or nothing. But you have to include it with a guy this young. 20 million for a youth product like this is great money. It is.
And he had a fantastic season as well.
I mean, he could go on to be like Chukwuemeka, who went to Chelsea and has done shit all. And we got 20 million for him. If we can get 20 million for Archer, who could go on and do really good things, I just don't see him starting for Villa, and he needs to start. So
I think that's fine. Well, listen, these are your hard decisions to make, sir. So number 3, we're gonna go on Chambers. Okay, I get this.
He's just not quite where we need him to be. He just isn't fitting into the starting role. And for me, it's, hey, can we get rid of some of the guys at the bottom, and can we add to some of the guys at the top? So Chambers, you're gone.
Okay. The only thing I'd say about Chambers, do you think realistically we get 5 million for him?
I think we can get 5. Honestly, I think he could be worth anywhere between 5 and 10. I think he could definitely do a job at the bottom half of the Premier League, and I think 5 million. If a team like, I don't know, West Ham looked at that, they might actually want him for 5 million. If a team like Bournemouth would take him for 5 million.
Okay, that's a fair point. And a big shout out to your fat cat that's currently licking its scrotum. So well done.
Rupert is very flexible, can lick himself, and then turns around to see the screen.
We've all tried.
We have tried.
Okay, so that is our first 3. So we're at what? We got 8 million, 20 million, 28, 33 million. Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice little ad. Now, this was shocking to me, but I said 15 million, and Paul said, "Yeah, but he just helped Luton get up. Luton's going to buy him, and you guys are going to get what you." And I was like, "All right, cool."
We'll take
Snapping
it.
your hand off. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to play for Villa. He's going to go to Luton. He's going to go full time. He's going to play. He's a hero for there.
Love
And you
him.
know what?
Love him.
He
Love him.
belongs to have a home. So
Yeah.
thank you, Marvelous Nakamba, with the sweet name. Have a great time at Luton.
Yeah, well, I think you did right to bite that hand off. I think that's a Danny Ings kind of price point that we got from West Ham. Well done, great price. Okay, so we're up at I think what 48 million. Right? Yes, I don't think we have to spend time on this one. You know,
nope, he's just not the
disastrous.
level that we want for a backup keeper.
Yeah, disastrous. So yeah, fair play. Okay, raised 63 million.
Yeah, so that puts us
28. 33, wow, 43, 48. Are we missing someone?
We're missing somebody.
Okay.
Oh, Leon Bailey. I sold Leon Bailey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where Bailey
He's
is,
not on there.
but it's okay. Okay,
I
so
sold Leon Bailey. He gets us up to
15 million.
Yeah, 15 million, 18 million. He gets us to where we need to be. And that gets us to a total of, what was it, 143?
Yeah, 143. Yeah, so I think 63 million brought in with the Leon Bailey that we've now just mentioned, bringing your transfer budget to 143
which to me is far more respectable and exactly what we need, because we don't need 10 guys. We need 4 or 5 guys of quality.
Yes.
And there's actually one guy that I think I've told, and I think he might have even put him up here, and I might actually like discard him as he comes in and say, instead, I'm going to take a loan move for somebody else, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair point. That's a really fair point. Okay. So let's roll on, and I'm excited to start seeing this. Number 1.
We're going to get Karius out of Newcastle for free. He played in about 6 or 7 games for Newcastle and looks sturdy. To me, he is a free backup goalkeeper who knows the league. He knows what's going on. He's had hiccups in the past, and he could turn out to be another bad backup goalie, but he's free. He's a backup goalie. He's going to come in. He's going to do a job. And with good goalkeeping, I think he's going to be just fine. Some Villa fans are going to say, what the hell are you talking about? But you know what? I think going for a guy who knows the league and has played at some of the highest levels, you can't discount that.
I'm gonna immediately stop you and say I think this is a wonderful, wonderful idea. I think this is a goalkeeper that has a great level of ability, had a couple of mistakes, and everyone turned on, as this world can and football can. And I think as a free, that's a great backup option. And it's a gigantic improvement on Olsen, because he has played at the top level. He has played in finals. And I know he's made mistakes, but he still has that ability. So I think, well done. Great shout. And on a free, wonderful bit of work. Well done, sir.
I'm going to try and pick up a few frees. Tielemans, everyone's been talking about. I really was not looking for Tielemans. I actually was really hoping for that Real Madrid player who just went to PSG. Asensio.
Yeah.
I had another one, Van Botman, that just went to Ajax.
Yeah.
And to me, Tielemans doesn't have the size that Van Botman had, who's like 6'2" and had something like 15 goals and assists last season from a midfield position. But Tielemans is a great player. He can fill into the center mid roles for Dougie or for Kamara. He can go on the right.
Yeah.
And I actually have this feeling that I'm going to see John McGinn play a little bit higher up as possibly one of the forwards. And so this allows Tielemans to go to the right mid, where Unai Emery likes to have both the left and right mid almost come inside like other center mids to make a box score. And so Tielemans fits that role perfectly. He's a great age. He's 26. Is that
all he is? He's only 26?
He's only 26.
Wow.
He's been a pro since he was 16.
Wow. Yeah, and I think I'm just gonna say I 100% agree. Tielemans on a free there should be no conversation on that. He's a Belgian international. He's scored worldie after worldie, and absolutely, I think great bit of business. Congratulations. Moving on. Wow.
I'm going big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Juventus is they're not just like cash empty. They are like in the dirt bag. They are living in their car. That's how poor they are. They need money. They need money bad. They seem to have lost the icon, the star-studdedness of Vlahovic, and I think he is the perfect striker for a team like Unai Emery is going to work. I think he will sit in the middle of the field in between the center backs, and then he will allow Oli Watkins and Oli Watkins' energy to work around him. I think he could do wonders for Villa. Obviously, this is a crazy move, right? But I'm not looking as a director of football to get the most perfect guy or the hidden
Yeah.
gem. I'm looking at how can we make Villa a top 5 team? It's going to cost. He's going to be our big transfer ever. And there were a few guys I was looking at as well. I was also looking at Jonathan David. I was looking at potentially Brentford's forward, who is now banned for gambling. I was looking at Fulham's striker Mitrovic.
Yeah.
There was guys that were there, but this is the best of the bunch.
No, I think
I was looking at
this shows ambition. I think it's a transfer that, and I think it's a decent transfer for him. I think Villa is an interesting prospect right now. I think you can see the quality. He hasn't had an incredible season. I think that's more to do with the fact that there's been so much turmoil at Juventus. 10 goals, two assists in 27 games. Not bad. I think Watkins ended the season with 13 or 14. So it's not terrible. Highly sought after. He has been rumored with Bayern. He has been rumored with Arsenal. But as of right now, no actual bids exist for him. And as we know with rumors, they're just that until they're
just rumors.
Exactly.
And I think his stock has dropped a little bit. I don't know if the Arsenals of the world are looking for him. I don't know if the Bayerns are looking for him. Real Madrid need a forward, and there's no rumors of Real Madrid going for him at all.
No.
So
I think they're putting all of their eggs in the Harry Kane basket.
Yeah. And I mean, I was obviously looking at him. I was looking at Santiago, who's I believe he's not Ajax, where you have Feyenoord, I think.
I think.
And he had a stellar season, something like 23 or 25 goals, Mexican international. Yeah. I was looking at I think his name's I can't think of his name. He's Norwegian or Danish dude in Italy at Atlanta. Not Holland, but the Holland's little brother, right? Pretty much.
Oh yeah. We'll
that everyone's talking about.
We'll groom him.
Yeah, like those guys were also there, but this is the final product. This is the guy that does it for me. So I'm going here.
I like it. And okay, so big old spend, a big chunk in that.
That's most of the initial transfer wage that we had.
I think you had 143. So yeah, I think it's a good chunk.
That would leave us about 73 million left.
Yeah. Okay. So love this.
Dumfries. Ashley Young is gone. I'm extremely sad about that. I was
can we just have a quick minute? I don't think any Villa fan understands that. Like he had
the only thing that I've seen that was really good, and that is, hey, if Villa's trying to make the next step forward, we can't be using a 37-year-old as our backup. Like we need to be moving past Ashley Young. I wish we had known ahead of time so we could have given him his goodbye at the final game, the walk around. I clearly feel there was still a role for him to play.
I think there will be a role.
But he's gone, so I need to fill it up.
I think there'll be a role. So yeah, tell us about Dumfries.
Dumfries is just a massive character. I looked for some speed. I looked for size. I looked for strength because Villa's a little small.
Yeah.
Dutch international. He is. His leg span and his speed is incredible, but he is also extremely calm on the ball, which Unai Emery will love. He is a very capable passer. He's a guy who can run the wing as like a wing right back or a right back that's very aggressive.
Right back, is he?
He's a right back,
but
he's like a wing right back. But he's also been known to play center back because of his size.
I thought that. Yeah, I thought I'd seen him in that role.
So for me, he is the perfect piece for Unai Emery, because if Unai Emery wants a left back who's bombing on and the right back tucks in as a center back, Dumfries can do it. If he wants both sides bombing, Dumfries can do it. If he wants Dumfries going up, he can do it. To me, he's perfect. He's young. I think he's only 24, 25.
He's a bit older. He's 27.
Oh, is he? That's fine. Yeah. He's still in great shape, and he is just a massive, massive person. So he's not small.
No, he reminds me. Do you know who reminds me of before the injuries? He reminds me of a young Micah Richards.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mika,
Yeah.
because like I think Mika had a hard time obviously at Villa, but he was a hell of a unit when he walked down. He scored that header against us in I think it was the
Yep.
FA Cup to put us down. I met him. I won't say how I met him at a university party, and he may have scarred a girl for life, but there we go. But he's a genuinely lovely guy, and just a unit, like
Yeah.
frightening size
And
and frightening
and
speed.
I want to stress that I'm looking for these qualities, but he also is an extremely
Talented,
smart footballer,
yes, yeah,
extremely talented footballer.
yeah,
So I
and
would
he's
love to get him in as the right back. And for me, a lot of the moves that I'm making, as we notice, are right-sided moves because I mean
yeah,
Tillemans can play on the right,
for sure,
Dumfries is on the right.
yeah.
So yeah,
No, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense, and he's got a great first name, Denzel. So love that.
yeah. So that's
Uh,
100 million right there.
Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, I thought he was available. Is he not available on a free? Has he got another
He's
year?
not available on a free.
Right. Okay. Well,
And
this is I think is a no. But I think this is happening. This will happen.
I think this is happening, and I
Yeah.
put him in there because I think it is happening. I had him in there, and then I had Van Boofman. I didn't get Van Boofman, so I got Yuri Tielemans. I don't know if I'd continue with this deal if I had Yuri Tielemans. I might use that 35 mil for something else,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
but I'd already put it in. We were kind of not we're going to redo it.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Guendouzi. I think Guendouzi can has been playing for Marseille the right mid / come into the center of the field role. He's 6'1". He's only
Is he
23 or
really?
24. Yeah, he's big. He's
Like a
not
big
small.
lad.
He's a
Wow.
big lad. So again, looking for a little bit of size to add to this Villa squad. He is aggressive. He's tenacious. To me, he's a bigger version of John McGinn. I think he's going to do wonders. And again, this allows us to move John McGinn up higher the field to be one of those forwards with Vlahovic and with Watkins. And so 35 mil, everything now is saying he's only 25 mil because I think he only has a year left, year and a half. But we were quoted at 35, so 35 it was. I think this deal's happening anyways, like I said. So this is the guy I'm picking to helpfully solidify that right side and be done with the right side that we've been struggling with this whole season.
I wouldn't hate this, right? And I remember watching, and I don't know if you saw, but when Arsenal were having their transitional season and
Yes.
everyone hated Unai and stuff,
And
I
they hated
remember
Guendouzi because
I
there was like,
watched, and yeah, I watched the Arsenal team when they were really like down in the dumps, and the only player that really looked like he gave a shit was Guendouzi.
yeah,
Like this kid cares. This kid really, he's not like someone who just wants to pick up his wage
no,
and check. He wants to win. And if he doesn't win, he gets frustrated. And I think Arsenal have a terrible habit of vindicating players that are passionate and they don't understand. And a great example is a quote unquote near club legend now in Xhaka. And a year ago,
yeah.
Xhaka was the worst thing that had ever invented.
They wanted to get rid of him. They
Oh
all
my
hated
God.
his guts.
Basically,
They were
the
flipping him
Holocaust.
off. He was flipping them off. It was crazy.
And I understand the passion from him. I understand he didn't deal with it maybe how he should have. But, I always, and Guendouzi was the type of player. I've seen this player at an amateur level. And what I love about it, I do this. When I'm frustrated in a game, I just go, I'll play every position. I'll take the ball, I'll bully people, and I'll just try and do it all because I'm so frustrated. And that's what I like about this guy. He really, really is passionate. And he has history, doesn't he? He has history
Yeah,
with him.
and him and Unai get along really well. Guendouzi's
Exactly.
obviously stated multiple times that Unai Emery is the best coach he's ever worked with. He loved him. He would love to work with him again.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's still left over from January, a lot of rumors
It was
and
close. I think it
yeah,
was really
so
close.
again, I don't know if I would choose Guendouzi and Yuri Tielemans. I'd probably spend
Yeah.
that money towards a right side forward, someone like a Harvey Barnes,
Yeah.
or I'd go big. And if I could do this again, I might actually try and spend that money towards a Jared Bowen, who is a
Wow. And
right
how
side
much do you think
forward.
Bowen's going to cost? 30,
I
40
mean, he
maybe?
would be at the 40 to 50 million,
You think?
probably. Yeah. Now
Okay.
that they've won,
Yeah, the
he's been
European.
relatively injury free. This season has not
Yeah.
been great for West Ham, and it hasn't been great for him, but he still has
He still
all
has
right
history.
numbers.
Yeah.
I like
Do you
Jared
think
Bowen a lot.
do you think we were linked with him for years?
Well,
For
we had
years.
him.
Yeah.
Well, we had him as a youth player, and then we released him,
Oh, did
and
we?
he's a
I
Villa
actually didn't know that.
fan. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He was in the youth program at like 14, and then we
wow.
released him, and then he went on a journey where he played at a few places, and he's worked his way back up. But I would love to get Jared Bowen, but I'm going with Guendouzi. I think
I
there's a
think,
lot there. Great age, great size. Everything about him kind of plays into the Unai Emery play.
yeah, I think great shout. I think the only thing that you're worried about with a Guendouzi is his attitude, and I think someone like Unai is like a father figure to him, and
Yes.
he loves that. So I think, yep, I have no problem with any of these. I think really great shouts. Okay, so spend 135 million. So good spend. Keeping it
There's
about
one guy that isn't on here, and I think
okay.
it was supposed to be um, the striker.
Damn you, Paul. Damn you.
I know. Yeah, damn him. It was Musa Dembele, but
Wow.
I've for the free, right? But I've
Yeah.
actually changed my mind because I
Okay.
think with Watkins and Vlahovic, we don't need him. Instead, if possible, I would bring João Felix in on loan as the right
Wow.
sided striker.
Do you think he's going to be available for a second year on loan though?
I think he
Realistically,
will because I
really?
don't think anybody will pay Atletico the amount they want.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
instead they loan him out and say you have to take over his wages and
Yeah, take
we
on the
would pay the
contract.
wages
Yeah.
because they have to be asking 70 million for him and it's just no one's going to pay that for him.
No, not right now.
I
That's
mean,
a fair
I think they
point.
signed him for almost 100 million
It
and they're
was
not going to get near that money back. So for me,
yeah.
if we could, and he has the same agent as Unai Emery. There's been whispers about that. I would love to get João Felix in, and that gives us multiple different kind of styles of play where we can play his 4-4-2, where we could have Vlahovic and João Felix, or we could have Vlahovic and Watkins, or Watkins and João Felix, or we could go to a 4-3-3, and you could do Watkins on the left,
Yeah.
Vlahovic in the middle, and João Felix on the right
Not bad, is it?
with the midfield that we now have, this beefed up, bigger than life midfield, where you have a Dougie, you have a Kamara, you have a Guendouzi, you have a Yuri Tielemans, you have a Buendia, you have a John McGinn, who you could find the right mix of
It's a
guys to be
real
three behind that.
yeah, it's a real flex.
And
I'm going
again,
on record and say this now. Atletico Madrid, I think, could be the next one to watch for financial
fair play.
violation. Yeah, because do you know they have Diego Simeone is the highest paid manager in the world.
Yes, it's something like 20 million a year, I think.
12, I don't think it's that high, but I think it's about 13, 14, but it's a lot. It's a lot of money, and they've spent very poorly over the years. So, yeah, interesting. Just before we move on, one guy that we've been linked to a couple of times, it's got a bit quiet, but I really like him, and you haven't mentioned, I'm surprised, is Lilian Thuram. Sorry, Marcus Thuram.
Marcus Thuram.
Lilian's son, Marcus.
I have him in there. I just don't know if I'm looking for a guy from the German league.
Fair.
I just don't know if he's going to make that transition well.
Yeah,
Marcus Thuram is a great player. Let's not take anything away from him. But if I had to go for a free forward, I'd probably go for Musa Dembele. I would like Marcus Thuram. I just don't know if he's coming to Villa for Villa.
Yeah.
And I look at some of the other guys that I picked up, and it's like João Felix would come to Villa because he wants to play well again. If I look at Dumfries wants to come to Villa because it's the EPL, and he could really put his name on the center page for the Netherlands for the next 10 years as a defender.
Last point quickly before we move on. I want to see the formations you've picked. There's no mention of our little magician, Philip Coutinho. What do you think is happening with that?
I would love to see him go to the Saudi league and get us 10 or 15 million. He's injured. He can't seem to stay fit. I would love for him to get fit. If he could get fit, we don't need João Felix.
Yeah, he needs a run of games for sure.
He needs a run of games, and I think he can play with Unai Emery. I think it's there. I just don't know if he can stay fit. And that's the hardest part. And clearly Villa is now going to be a little bit more cutthroat in who we get rid of. And I think he will be one of those guys that's shown the door pretty quickly, like Ashley Young will.
Yeah, no, okay. Fair enough. Okay, so let's have a look at how you think this lines up. So Interesting lineup. Based on what we've just discussed, I'll read it out and I'll let you take us through. So, with this new idea, your best 11 is obviously Martinez, no doubt
Of
there.
course.
You've got a Mings and a Konza centre back. That could change. Villa are linked with a lot of centre backs
Totally.
right now. Dumfries on the right, Marino on the left. Personally, think that's fantastic. In the middle, McGinn left, probably more of an attacking role, as you mentioned. Kamara Louise holding that position, and Tillemans maybe that floating right into the centre mid. And then you've got Vlahovic and I think that's how you say it, Vlahovic and Watkins up front.
And
Right.
let's
So,
be real, we can
yeah,
put
please.
Ramsey in for McGinn. McGinn can go in for Tielemans. Those there's a lot of guys that could fill into these spots. Konza's there, but Carlos could come in and be in the Konza role. There's a lot of movement with the options that we have now into this type of formation.
For sure. Well, that's the only point, the thing that jumps out on that best 11 is Ramsey. And I think there's argument to say that Ramsey has been one of our best players of the season. So for you not to mention or not to feature him in this team, I'd love you to take us through that.
Again, he's during Unai Emery, he's been there 2/3 of the game.
Yeah.
But there are games where he isn't playing.
Yeah, he doesn't pick up. Yeah.
He doesn't pick up every game. And he's great. But he seems to play better in big games. And I think we have a real gem on our hands. And I think for me, if Villa are going to be doing 45, 55 games a season, then that means he could get half of them. That's a solid number.
Yeah.
And it's a good development for him. I think he
Light
can
up
clearly go in on the left.
Yeah.
McGinn go on the right, Tielemans drop, or Louise drops, or Kamara drops, and you can just rotate. This is pretty flush on the way you can just trade guys in and out and keep to a very similar style.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I think for me personally, as crazy as it seems, based on the end of the season, I don't think either Louise or McGinn is droppable. And it's wild to say that, but McGinn, watching him,
He looks great again.
I don't think there's a player in the league that works as hard as John McGinn and has the effectiveness of breaking up a play. He's a freak, and he's our freak, and we love him. So,
and I haven't even mentioned Leander Dendoncker, who I really enjoy as a backup center mid.
I do enjoy him. The only thing, my problem with Dendoncker is I don't think he has the engine that some other players have.
Totally.
But I think to have him from a 55, 60, 65 minute mark, great little rotating player. Right, experimental. This is fun. I'm not going to say it. Why don't you take us through how you set this up?
Yeah, so it has Dembele up top, and he didn't have the other thing. So, like, if we got him cool, like Watkins could go in there, and you could put John McGinn up there, or João Felix, or Coutinho up in that forward three. But I like Ramsey a little bit higher up the field. He's known for these blistering runs where he gets the ball around half field and he beats a man and he goes for 20 or 30 yards. I like him far higher up the field where he just combos with somebody. He gets around and he either has a shot or he drives it across the face of goal for somebody to run in. And I think him higher up the field would be great.
You got into that Grealish.
Yeah, you got Guendouzi and Don Decker, who could be like the 2-6s, where Guendouzi would be like the 6 to 8.
Dendoncker. God damn.
He could go in the 6 role, which he does anyways really well. You got Cash and Dean. Carlos in the center back there. Emi Buendia as a 10 role where he has that ability to float. And then when he gets it, he collects and just sprays through the passes. I think there's a lot of options here. I got Watkins on the right, but that can be replaced by any one of the guys that aren't in. So there's a lot of options. I think in games where we're down 1-0, we're tied, but we're dominating. I think the option to go from a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3 and hopefully lay it on a little bit thicker. You know, if we're tying a team in the bottom 5 and there's 20 minutes to go, it's like, all right, let's get more guys in the box. Let's be a little bit more aggressive. We could switch it up to something like this.
I think that's really good. And just in an appreciation for your pronunciation of Dendonker's name, I love that. And we need to bring that in because you and your pronunciations are one of my favorite parts of this podcast now. Just wild. And I love it. I love you for it. Okay, well, listen, Mr. California, as on behalf of the North End podcast and also on behalf of the spokesperson for the Aston Villa Fan Association, I just want to say I think you've done a marvelous job. A couple of names I was surprised to see, a couple of names I was very happy to see, but all in all, I would argue a really, really solid improvement, especially if you look at that kind of best 11. There are players you could argue, Buendia, he needs to step his game up to be making that top
Totally.
11. I think you're fair on that one. We talked about some players there. Will be interesting to see how Carlos in the centre back position, or if we bring in a new centre back. But all in all, I think a great bunch of players. So obviously, just to say thank you so much for joining us, and if you would have anything to say to your Villa legion and to the fan base, what are you seriously predicting? What is your honest prediction for Aston Villa in the 23-24 season?
I honestly believe we will not be getting more than 5 guys this summer. I think it's going to be 5 or less. It'll be 3 big players, 1
Yeah,
mild player, and hopefully 1 free agent. It seems we are looking for top level free agents, which is totally
and there's
understandable
a
and
lot of
fine.
them. There's
And
a
there's a
lot of
lot
them.
of them.
Yeah,
I think Villa is going to focus on that right side. I think the right back, the right forward, the Leon Bailey type role seems to be someone that Unai Emery doesn't completely trust, and I don't think Villa fans completely trust him either. So that's
yeah,
why I say Bertrand Traore and Leon Bailey could potentially be making way, and those funds could be freed up for someone top level to go in there as a right forward. I know some fans were unhappy with the Archer. That's fine. So be it. If we keep him, great.
yeah,
If we don't, so be it. We still have Duran, who is 1 year younger than him and has the size to boot. He
yeah.
doesn't score the goals, obviously, but I actually really enjoyed watching him when he played. I thought he did a lot of really good
He had
stuff,
very
and
little time. Yeah,
he had very little time. But when he was on, I thought he made good use of it. He's
he did.
clear that he might be a little frustrated that he wants more time, but I also understand he's young and he's raw, so he needs time to develop. I think he's going to go out on loan.
I was about
Um,
to ask. Yeah,
I think he will go out on loan. I think
yeah,
Archer will be brought in, but I think Archer, Watkins, and a new forward or 2 would be great. Again, that right side needs to be a little bit rebuilt. Um, and clearly, there's a lot of whispers of a center back, which kind of worries me a little bit. I don't know if that's the number one worry for Aston Villa is the center back when we have players like Carlos, Mings, and Konza. And
it's not the worry, but I would argue just because a slight bit of rainbow, we shouldn't forget the darkness, and I think that's a line on. I love and I have a probably an overwhelming love for Ezri Konza, and you and I've come back and forth on the Mings thing, but I
he's
I I, I can't argue. He's Mings has been, if
and
not
both of them have looked great for the last 15 or 20 matches. So
probably
it's
one of the best,
hard.
yeah, up there with the best centre back partnership in the Premier League right now.
Yeah.
Like they really, really were. But I think because they felt very secured with who they had on the left and the right. I think Marino is so good and doesn't really
Gosh,
get.
isn't he?
We're not giving him the time. He's so good and he gets back and he busts his ass. And then to have Digne coming on as a backup is phenomenal. So
Mhm.
I think it's a very exciting time. I would agree with you. I think 5 would be the utmost amount of players that I would expect to see. I think 3, if we're lucky, 4, and hopefully a couple out the door. And just FYI, even if Archer isn't sold for this 20 million, you still are within a price point on the players that you brought in that I think that we don't go over budget. We end up actually still a little under budget based on the 80 million that we're going to put in. And
Yep.
I don't think anyone could argue with that. I think to see Villa spend 100, 110, 120 is not going to be surprising this summer. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be a big summer, and Unai is stamping his authority. So
I
yeah,
know there's a lot of talk of a big name guy coming in. I would love to see just one striker or one player at the 40-45 million dollar mark. I don't need to
correct.
see Villa spend 70 million on Vlahovic. But I'd like to see us show a little ambition with one good free and one big buy. So you have a little bit of both
Yeah,
worlds. Someone like a Yuri Tielemans and a Jonathan David for 50 million. That
yeah.
would be a very interesting combo to get 2 players
Mm.
like that quality in.
Where is
Um,
David at the moment? Is he in the French league or
he's
the
in the
German
French
league?
league, but he was
Yeah.
like the second or first highest goal scorer. Like he
Oh,
was at 25 goals.
he's fan
He was
he's
tearing it
fantastic.
up.
Yeah.
He's lightning quick. He obviously starts for Canada and all the things they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would transition well into the English league. That is a question I have on him and his abilities. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of possibilities out there for players when it comes to Aston Villa.
You didn't mention the likes of Harvey very quickly. I don't want to last too long here, but there are a number of players in that Leicester team that I'm
Harvey
wondering.
Barnes to me though is a left forward.
He
And
absolutely
we
is.
don't need a left-sided forward. We need a
Okay,
right-sided forward. To
that's
me,
fair.
it's we got Ramsey, Buendia can go in there and do just a great job. McGinn can
Yeah,
go in there and do a job. Philip Coutinho is a left-side player usually when he's fit. So it's like we got guys to be there.
yeah. I think that's actually a very, very fair point. I will say one guy that I feel that never got a proper look in. He started incredibly well for Leicester, and then I don't really know what was happening. I'm not sure. Was Daka. So Daka was the guy they signed up front. He
Right.
blew up in his first couple of games. He couldn't stop scoring. I do think there's quite a good player in Daka. And Iniacho is another one that
I
has.
like Iniacho,
I
but
do.
I think he's kind of like the Leon Bailey, the Bertrand Traore, kind of like Daka, where they just don't seem to have the confidence to continually perform
Yeah.
consistently 8 out of 10 performances. And when I go to a striker, I want 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 every game, no matter what. I want shots on goal, no matter what. And when I looked for a goalkeeper, I was like, all right, Karius this season was constantly a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for Newcastle.
Yeah, he
And
was.
that's a great free pickup for Villa.
Yeah, and I think he will. I think he will be surplus to requirements at that Newcastle.
Yeah, he's out of contract, so
Perfect.
I think he could be one that Villa could actually look to pick up. I think that'd
As
be a
long as
great
we
fit
don't,
for
as
them.
long as we don't see another season with Olsen as a backup, I'll be happy. But listen, anyways, we're gonna wrap it up, Mr. California. It is wonderful to have you. I'm so sorry we've dragged you from the sunny world of California to
It's
the
okay. It looks like
dreary
you're
world.
about ready to go climb trees and live out your Twilight fantasy, man. I
I,
can't wait.
and you know what's great? This is real. This isn't a fake background. This is wholly real. So yeah, Canada, not bad, eh? When it's not on fire. And we're sorry about that, the US, but
I mean, I'm used to that. We have it for about a month and a half. So when
yeah,
New Yorkers are freaking out, like it looks like hell, it's like, first time? I don't know what's going on with you guys.
exactly. Well, listen, Mr. California, thanks for joining us. We look forward to hearing from you again over the remaining weeks and months. But for now, God
And
bless.
we got a special one coming up.
We
Me and
do.
Luke are going to be meeting in Philly, hopefully
We
for the
are.
Villa game. So
We are.
maybe we can get together and record a
There'll be
little
some
bit
content.
for the
There,
fans. Yeah, that'll
there
be
will be
fun.
some content for sure.
Hopefully we
Other
can
than
limit
that,
our drinking beforehand.
you know what to do. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. If you disagree, but no, we'd actually love to hear about it. Get your
Yeah,
like.
give us your comments, all the fans. Tell us
Yeah,
what you guys think about the choices I made.
we'd love to. Mr. California, thank you so much. We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you guys.
This is the North End.